Okay. Okay.
All right. It's so, so, so good. Like I said, so good to have you here. You look
Thank
beautiful.
you.
You've always looked beautiful. Anyway, I said I was going to
Thank
tell
you.
you that. So this is my opportunity to tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so good to have you here. All right, so that I don't take so much of your time, just tell us about
Right.
yourself. While you're telling us about yourself, your favorite color, just tell us about your career as well.
Okay.
Transitioning from here, how has it been like transitioning from being a teacher here to being a teacher over there? So yeah,
Okay.
tell
Okay.
us.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Miss Tonia. This is amazing, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just start. My name is Halima, and I moved to Canada like 2 years ago. Okay, my favorite color, if you want to know, is blue. Okay, I
Blue.
yes, blue. I am married. I have two children, two lovely kids. No,
Mm,
not kids, children. I try to use children all the time. So I have two
yeah,
children. We moved here 2 years ago in 2022. Before then, I worked as a teacher back home for like almost from 2013 to I think 2020. I resigned in 2020 and started doing like my own consulting job business. Like I started like Early
yeah.
Path,
Really
and I
proud.
used to share like resources with teachers online. I used to go to schools to talk to teachers and things like that. But then we moved to Canada, right? And when I moved to Canada, my only thought was, okay, you've been a teacher, you had to go back to
Hmm.
doing teaching, right? That's the only thing you've known. That's since I started working. My
Yeah.
first job was teaching, and so I'm like, okay, I'll go back into teaching. And so I did get like I couldn't get a teaching job, like go be a teacher, like a classroom teacher, because
Mm,
in Canada, teaching is a regulated occupation, which means that you need a license to actually
to do
practice
it
in Canada.
right.
Yeah, you can't just go become a teacher. You can be an education assistant. You can maybe just be like a part-time. You're taking care of the kids. You maybe before children, before and after school. You can come. You can work for like 2 hours before school because
Hmm.
parents go to work early. You can just be with the kid, with the children, and then take them out to whatever they have to do before school starts. And then after
Right.
school closes at like 3:50 or something, you can also be with them till their parents pick them up in the evening. So I got that kind of job, right?
Okay.
But I got pregnant, and I know that that was not going to be an easy job because I know that working with children is not so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same period of time, I got another job to become an employment coach. And because I spoke French, and rather I speak French, and so they were looking for like a bilingual employment coach, someone who would work with newcomers into Canada to help them like settle down, write their resumes and things like that.
Right.
And so that was the job I did for the past 2 years. I just took that job because that's an office job. It was more relaxing. I had the time to actually go off, and it was a full-time job as well. So which means that I had benefits, so I could take my time off to have my child and also, have benefits while I'm on maternity leave. So I took that job. But as time went on, once a teacher, always a teacher, I've always been a passionate
Yeah.
teacher, always loved to work with children. And so I started thinking about it again, like, okay, Halima, I feel like I need to go back to the classroom. It was very strong in my heart. And I believe in what, God has placed me here to do. And I wanted to pursue that. And so I started making my research on what would it take for me to actually go back into the classroom. So like I said earlier, working in Canada as a teacher is a regulated profession. So you have to have a license. So there are different ways to actually go about it, right? So if you've maybe been an internationally trained teacher, you've worked outside Canada as a teacher, you have your teaching certificate, you did like a Bachelor of Education, and maybe you have a master's or whatever, then it's easier for you to see how you can, transfer that to here. But you have to evaluate it, take some time for them to see, okay, what do you have? Do you need some more credits and things like that? But
Mm.
for me, I really just wanted to go back to the grassroots, like because
Yeah.
I have a daughter that's 6. She's been in the system since that 2 years. I see that things are different, right? So I'm like, should I just go that route of, oh, my TRCN, try to transfer that to here and all of that, or
Mm.
just go back to learn. So I just decided to go back to school for 2 years. Right. So right now I'm doing a program. It's called a Bachelor of Education program, but the prerequisite for this program is that you have to have like a first degree. So it's more like a master, it's like a master's, but it's not called
Okay.
a master's.
Okay.
Also need to have if you want to do a master's in education, you still have to go to school for that, right? So
Yeah.
for right now, I'm doing my B.Ed. It's a 2-year program. Prerequisite for you to have like a first degree. You have to have a first degree before you can do that. So I applied to the school, and then and all of that. So right now I'm a student teacher. I go into the classroom as a student teacher to learn from the teacher I'm being paired with. And so that's where we are right now. And yeah.
So good to, we miss you. We miss you here. Miss you
I miss
here.
everybody to trust me. I can't wait to be fully back on online, to
Oh, we can't wait
share
to have you
all the,
back.
all the beautiful things that I'm learning and seeing over here that I feel like will be beneficial to us back home.
Okay, so we really can't wait to have you back, doing that sharing. But we want you to just share a little bit of that on here right now. So I just want to
Mhm.
ask, how was it like transitioning? Because now you say you're a student teacher, so it means that you are in the classroom right now.
Yes. I
Yes,
mean,
so
yes, I have classes. I take classes at the university and then I go into the classroom every week. We
okay.
have blocks of time when we actually go fully for like weeks. But right now, my block is over because it's almost like Christmas holiday. So I'm back
Oh
to just going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to ask, what was it like for you transitioning from, how you were here, your teaching practice, your pedagogy over here and all of that, and then in that new environment, what was it like for you? What were
Honestly,
the what were
honestly, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
saying what were the culture shocks that you had
Oh, plenty. Oh, I will not
okay
lie to you. Like I'm still living, I'm
in
still
shock?
every day, yes, I'm still every day seeing different kinds of shock. And that's why I'm so excited that I actually went back. Because if I had just come from Nigeria and said, oh, I'm a professional teacher, like people know me, and they
Mm,
want to bring all of that in here. I have back home in Nigeria, we have our own strengths, we have the things that we do well. But when you move to a new country, you have to also still read the environment to see what's happening here and how
yeah.
it aligns. I won't tell you that they have it 100% here as well, right? They also have their own loopholes as well. But today we're
Yeah.
talking about the strengths, right? So I am learning a lot of stuff. First of all, one of the things I'm learning first, one of the things I've seen, even in my own personal education journey as a student, right?
Yeah.
And now in the classroom, is that the teachers and the schools, what I've observed, and let me just put this disclaimer here, this is my experience. So people may have different experiences, but this is my experience I'm sharing, right?
Okay.
I feel like they set the children up for success. Like everything that they do is setting children up for success. The way they do assessment, the way they do the mind behind assessment, the way
Okay.
they, interact with the children and give them opportunities to talk and explore, the way that the curriculum is organized is setting them up for success, and not just in the classroom, but like even outside the classroom. That's why
Mm,
you see that a lot of children here are very confident. We have confident children back home. I'm not saying
yeah.
we don't have, do have them. But when you really think about it, when you look at the percentage of children who are very confident, very outspoken back home in Nigeria, it's nothing in comparison to the ones that you have here. From here, 2-year-olds can actually hold a conversation with you. 3-year-olds, they can tell you what they want. They are very vocal. They are very expressive. And I now understand why. Because people always say, because one of the arguments that we have here as parents in Canada is that, oh, the curriculum is not as academic as we want it to be. Like we want the children to be writing,
Yeah.
reading, which is also something I feel like is valuable, right? Reading, especially because a child that is already in grade 3, that's like primary 3, cannot read. Some of them cannot read. They still struggle with reading. But you can see them that when they hold conversation with my sister, they have so much vocabulary, clear
Mm,
vocabulary, able to express themselves in diverse ways. They're able to tell you what they need. And that's because the environment in the classroom presents that opportunity always for them to have those conversations. They want them to talk. They want them to ask questions. They present everything. Lessons gives students voices. Like you want the students to have their own voice, to make their own choices. Like if you're doing like any assignment or you're doing any classwork, you're giving the students opportunities to express themselves in diverse ways. So if you want to go do your assignment on a PowerPoint presentation, or you want to do a voice recording, or you want to write do a writing, or whatever you want to do, however you feel like you want to express what you have
yourself.
learned, you have that opportunity, which I think, I don't know how it is now in Nigeria, but while I was there, it's always do this, everybody's doing this. Your assignments are just one
Yes,
channel or
everybody.
two.
Okay.
So it's, Yeah, we're not giving them that opportunity to actually have choices where they say, okay, I want to do this is how I feel like I'm better. I'm better at speaking, for instance, or I'm better at writing. Everybody doesn't have to have one way, right? You can have multiple. Just what are you looking for? Does the child understand? Right? So, like I said, they set the students up for success. When they
Success.
take assessment, it's not because they're taking assessment to please parents or to show, oh, you are first. Ah, you are so good. Or you, see your mates. No, they don't do that. The assessment that they do here is they want to see how you need to improve. So assessment is very much like a tool for improvement. When they take assessment, they're asking, okay, what does this child need to learn?
Mm.
Not who is better than who, not comparisons. They don't do all of those comparisons. So that's something I really, really enjoy and I really like because that means that you're actually, it's like you're going for that child to succeed. I want to know how I can help you, not going to like tease you or make you feel
Yeah,
bad
make
for
you
not
feel
being,
bad.
yeah, you're making not
Mm.
being who you ought to be. No, that's not the whole idea. You made a mistake or something. I feel like, oh, now that's the end of the world. No, is like, okay, how can I help this child move? So different things like that, just even the way they co-create with the students, like in class, how you want to teach a subject, for instance, you want to teach them like about photosynthesis. Before class, the teacher may have already even done everything, done the charts, what everything about photosynthesis, writing on the piece of paper. But here, they do it together, they co-create together. So we're learning
Mm.
something. We co-create everything together. What do we know before we start? Now that we're doing it, what are we learning? They all do it together. So everybody's involved. Every
The
child has a voice.
collaboration. Mm.
There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of group works. Oh my gosh, even in my class, we do group works. Like, that also means that people who may not truly understand will it's not like you're going to hide under anybody, but it's an opportunity to also learn from their friends. Like myself, for instance, I've learned so much from my classmates because I didn't grow up here. I have a lot of young classmates, right? Most of them are just
Yeah.
out of university, 22 or something, 23. Most of them are very young. So they've been born here, they know the system, they know exactly, they do things so fast. Like they do it so fast. I'm always asking questions like, hey, what's going on? Because it's like, hey, God, you can't sometimes I can't even think. I'm like, where am I? And that's another
Yeah.
problem that I see happen to our children who are over here. They don't have a voice. They can be very smart. They can write their numbers and their letters, which sometimes they forget at the end of the day because nobody's really pushing them to say it's numbers, it's letters,
Mm.
nobody's pushing them for anything, for those kind of things. It's more like how you relating with your friends, how you getting along with people, how are you able to navigate the classroom to go and choose what you want? Are you able to hold a conversation? Are you able to play nicely? So they give them opportunities to explore. They feel like in that opportunity, that whole experience is the growth, is the becoming who you are, learning about yourself, becoming more self-aware. That's they present all of those opportunities for them. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I was saying something. So, like I was saying, yeah, I asked my friends, like, how are you people doing this thing? My brain is always like it's just this one way. No, there are different other ways you can do stuff. And I noticed that our children, because in my class, for instance, I have like 4 Nigerian children who are able to write their numbers better than other children, who are able to know their letters, but their voices are very low. Their voices are very, very low. Like they don't, most of them don't want to talk. They don't,
Like you have to push
it's
them.
so, yeah, you have to keep trying to ask them because over here, like you're giving them up, but you're asking the children questions. So what happened? Oh, okay, open-ended questions. And the children are talking and expressing themselves. And that's something that I feel like, we need to really work on back home in Nigeria, to be honest. Like, it's not, we don't want our classes to be noisy, right? Their classes are not noisy as well. Their classes are very, very okay. You don't see people shouting on the hallway or whatever, but there's a lot of conversation going on. A child would hold a grade 3 child will sit down with you and hold a conversation with you well. They give them that opportunity. They do a lot of talking in class. I'm in a kindergarten class right now. That's like 3 to 5, 3 to 5 year olds. So no 4, 5, and almost they'll be 6 at the end of the year. So they start with 4 years old here. So I'm in that class right now, and the teachers always like give them opportunities to talk. So just ask them a random question. And then, oh, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? They're always asking, soliciting questions at them, answers from them. What do you think? Oh, why do you think that? Oh, that happened. Oh, that's really nice. And the children will express themselves. They're not shy to talk. We need to imbibe that so much in our classrooms.
Mm,
Give children opportunities to talk. Don't shut them up. They're not supposed to be shut up. Let them talk. Let them express themselves. Give them that. They are already smart children. Let's not put them in boxes. Let's not keep them seated in one place anymore.
mm.
That's something I honestly feel like, we need to learn a lot of, because our children can come, they can be very, when they want to talk, that they become aggressive, like they want to do, but no, it's not like that one. Make meaningful conversation.
Conversations.
Give
Mm.
them opportunities to make meaningful conversations. Ask them questions, even though they are just three or four. Talk to them. How did your day go? Yes. What did you do after school yesterday? Oh, what's your favorite animal? Why? Not just what's your favorite, and that's just like a one-off closed
Yeah,
answer.
closed-ended. Yeah.
Dog, no, why? Why do you like this thing? Why do you, oh, this weather, because we have different weathers here. So there's always something to talk about. Look around your environment, whatever is going on. If it rained that day, talk about the weather. What do you like about the weather? You know, just not to,
And I hear
yeah,
you when you talk about giving children a voice to talk because it feels like sometimes we tell them everything to do, you know? We tell them when to
yes.
stand up, we tell them when to sit down, we tell them when to
Mm-mm.
answer questions, what to say, how to say it.
How
You know,
to say it.
sometimes, yeah, I know that there are a lot of, this is not to say there are not people who are trying their best. We're just saying that it can be better.
It can be better, and it will be better if more of us are doing it than the few, right? If there are few people doing it already, fantastic, beautiful, that's the way to go. Now we want more people to be doing this so that when our children come out, right? People always say we're preparing our children for world-class education. Really? Are you sure? It's not just about the academics
Academics.
part of it. It's the social interaction. You cannot tell your children to sit down in one spot. Another thing I find here is that, like in my own class, they have flexible sitting. So anybody can choose to sit anywhere. So that's also another way you are giving them a choice. A child may not want to always sit on this particular seat every single day. For instance, in my own kindergarten class, maybe in the upper grade class, they may have a particular seat or whatever because they
Mm,
have their things in there. But I believe that the sitting should also be flexible. That's also another way you're giving them a choice to go sit down anywhere that they want. Nobody should have any to be entitled to any particular position. Why do you be here? If I don't like that seat, so every day for the next 1 year of school, I'll just have to be there. And then already, you know how children are. If something is not really, they're not really happy with something, they
mm,
cannot assimilate other things. So you're teaching a holistic child, you want to teach the whole child. Then you have to think about other factors that may also be affecting this child's learning as well, which may be as small as they don't like to sit in that particular place all the time. They want to do something, they
mm.
want to sit somewhere else. One of the things I feel like we need to learn is how to release control of our classroom, like
Your
release that.
autonomy.
Yes, let's not always be the teacher. And I know that's something that we're always taught, people have been talking about for years, but we begin to see that more in our classroom. Release control. And that one of the ways is to allow kids to make their choices in the class by presenting and providing different materials, different opportunities for them to be able to choose.
Mm,
Your assignment should not be one. It should not just be one way. It shouldn't be just be one way. You have to do it this particular way. Give them the opportunity. Okay, today I want to do something else. I want to talk. I want to give them the opportunity to choose, right?
mm.
That's how you make them have a voice as well. Another thing, I'm just checking what I wrote here.
No problem.
Meaningful work, like I said, how do you make them have a voice? Ask them, let them be part of the class. You as a teacher should not be the only one giving out all the information and everything. Give them opportunity to also tell you what they think or what they want to learn from the stuff. You're asking them
Mm,
also, what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn next? What do you think that you should have done better this time? Give them the opportunity to actually talk and say, oh, I think, let them reflect. They do a lot of reflection here. I'm telling you, after maybe you've finished your own lesson planning, they finish the work, they have to reflect on what they have done. So when you're consolidating the learning, the teaching, you've done your minds on, which is like your activities to simulate the information, their interest. You've done the action, which is like the main work of what they had to do.
yeah.
Now you have to consolidate the teaching by asking them, by going back to review what they have just done And then part of that is to ask them what they think they did better, how they can improve, or what they think they want to learn
Mm.
next. That will help you now, guide the way you need to teach. We are too stuck up on our curriculum. And if you want to teach children here, what I've noticed is that they take the children's interest into their learning. And then you can do that in any subject, right? You're teaching math. If you find out that your children in grade 4, like in primary 4, primary 5, they are very into a particular thing that's raining that particular period, use those things as the examples in your classroom, as the examples in your lesson, so that they feel like, they can relate better. That's
Yeah.
why I tell you that they set the children up for success. In every way, they're thinking about the children, they're thinking about the
Mm.
students, they're thinking about what will benefit the student, how would they be interested in the teaching, in the learning, and that's just so cool.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Like you've really said a lot and it's amazing. I love when you said giving children autonomy in the classroom control. I
Yeah.
think I don't know. I know that when I have conversations with teachers regarding that, it's always as if when they do that, it means that they are giving room for the children to get spoiled, or it means that the children will start to misbehave, or you hear, children can test you, children can play on your intelligence, all those things that we say. So what do
Yeah.
you think, how do you draw the line, how do you balance it out? Does really
One,
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
go on.
One thing I would say is when you start a new year with students, you want to build a relationship with the students. They're not your enemies.
Mm,
Our students are not our enemies, and they're not our competitors. They are there for us. You're a teacher. You have come into the profession with your full chest. If you came with your half chest, now you are there. Have a full chest. Now you go into it with all your heart. And now see the children as, they've come to you. They're in your care. They're not competing with you. They're not your enemies.
mm,
You want to guide them. So the first thing you need to do is to build relationship with your students. If you do not build relationship with your students, then you are a bad person. I'll just put it that way. If you are so afraid to build that relationship, you are literally not supposed to be in the profession, because you need to know your students. They are little children. I mean, the highest age an elementary student would be, for instance, I'm talking like primary school, maybe
hmm,
like 12 years, can be your child. You know what I mean? Like secondary school,
yeah,
18 yeah, that can be your little brother or your little sister as a teacher in the classroom, or your
mm,
child. So you see that child as someone who you has come to you with they can come with maybe trauma from back home. They can come with different different experiences, but they've come to your classroom. Now your job as a teacher, and I'm not just saying this. I'm not saying this so that it will be looking sweet. This
mm,
is the mentality that we should have as teachers. When our students come to our classroom, they are human beings. They are human beings who cannot beat you, who cannot even hold you accountable if you don't give them that opportunity to hold you accountable. They cannot, if you do the wrong thing, they cannot come and tell you you have done this wrong thing. This thing you should be punished. No, they can't
mm,
do that. But to you, your own conscience, and the reason you leave your house every morning to say this is what the job I'm pursuing, this is what job I'm doing, is for you to give yourself. Or be also vulnerable to your students. Know them. When you know your students, and you know them well, and they know that you know them, and they know what you think about them. That's humanism. That your students know exactly what you think about them. They know that you think well for them. You look at a child, and you know that in every child is that innate ability to be good. That's your mindset. That every child I see has that innate ability,
to be good.
innate goodness in them. They
Mm,
may present to you as being rude, and that may be that may be because of a traumatic experience they're going through. Remember, they are children, they haven't had children, they haven't had jobs, they haven't had anything, they don't have any, but what
yeah,
may be influencing behavior, maybe their own environment where they're coming from. When they come to your class, you can change it. You can change it through relationship. And I feel that teachers should do this. Know your students, ask them what they want. If a child is so difficult, I learned something in school recently. They call it the 2 by 10 rule. My teacher taught me this thing. He said, if a child is difficult, or a child is, appearing to be a difficult child, the child has challenge or whatever, use the 2 by 10 rule. What does it mean? That for 10 days, you talk to that child for 2 minutes, not for their academic or whatever, just to
Mm.
know more about the child. Oh, hi, what's your favorite stuff? 2 minutes. You've done it day one. Day two, you talk about that thing again, or something new. Maybe they told you something the first time. You now remember it. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
do it to all the students at the same time. You can have a note and say, okay, to this week or this next 10 days, I want to build relationship with this particular child.
Child.
2 minutes of your day, you ask that child, oh, hey, what's up? You have a brother or a sister. Oh, okay, what's their name? You note that name down. The next day, 2 minutes again. Oh, how's your sister? You call the name. Or how was your sports that you did yesterday? Or how was your grandparents came to visit you yesterday? Based on what they told you,
Mm-hmm.
you keep building that up for 10 days. You try your best to do for 10 days. At the 10th day, this child know that you are interested in the child.
Child.
Not in, oh, did you do your homework? Did you not do your homework? No, you're interested to know their interests, what they are doing after school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not in a pervert way. It's in a way that you want to build relationship with that child. You're not
Yeah.
asking them because you want to know their family background or whatever. You're not asking too personal questions, but you want to also go into a level where you want to know the child. It may be child's favorite color or child's favorite activity. And child say, oh, I have swimming after school. Really? Okay, that's really nice. The next day, oh, how was your swimming? Do you know what that does to a child? You
Mm.
build that relationship with that child. And guess what? When you tell them, okay, guys, we're going to do this work at 10 minutes past the time, I'm going to set a timer, we're going to stop. And you already had with them. When that time gets to that time, they will stop. You get what I mean? Another thing I've also seen here is that they use a lot of visual timers a lot. So you're telling children that
Mm.
you have 10 minutes to do your work. Put a timer, go on YouTube, 10 minutes timer. Or go and download it and put in your this thing, put 10 minutes timer and you put on the screen, or if you have a screen or your laptop, use your phone to set an alarm that can ring out and
Right.
they know. And when it's almost time, you say, okay, 1 minute more. You're preparing them. You're not just putting things
For
on children. I'm
transitioning,
learning
yeah.
what I'm not like you are telling them, you're preparing them for the next thing by giving them that time. So, okay, it's almost time. It's 1 minute more. Okay, now let's pack up. The children are carried along. You are building that your classroom culture to so that you. I'm not going to just come and snatch your work off your table and tell you, put that thing down. We're not fighting a war. We're just coming to school, right? To just come and learn. I would
Right.
not have to go and learn this. I don't want to go, I will not come, but I'm now there, right? Most of them may not want to even come, but they're actually parents saying you must go. So when they now must now go, then you too try to make it look good for them so that they really want to now come.
Mm.
If you have a classroom where there's good relationship, based on the fact that you have, become vulnerable to them, you're showing that you're really interested in them, you won't have problem of classroom management. You will not have problem
Mm.
of children, they will not test you. They won't test you. If there's one person that wants to test you, the other wants to tell them, I've seen it before. When students like you like this, when they like you, if another person wants to misbehave, they just, what are you doing? Because they're like, this is our party, like this is our person. We can't even
Yeah.
try. They will even go against that friend. That friend will now know that
Mm.
I'm minority. But if majority don't like you because of your behavior as a teacher, then you will really have a problem. And you don't
Mm.
want to come to a job where you are so sad because your children, students are unruly, they don't want to listen to you, you are sad because you're like a dictator in your classroom. It's not that deep,
It's
to be
not that
honest.
deep. It's not that deep. Thank
It's
you,
not
thank
that
you,
deep.
thank you so much. You've literally covered everything that I wanted to ask. Thank you so much. This is a lot to unpack, you know. When we're done, I'm going to come
Yeah.
back and listen again. You know, it's the same thing. I know we hear this all the time, and it's good to even just remind
Yeah.
ourselves over and over again, give the children a voice. Because there was a day I made a post. I said we are not raising robots. We are not raising academic robots that just when you say one
Yeah.
plus one, they will tell you two, but then have a conversation, they can't have a proper conversation. You're asking questions, they can't
Exactly.
respond with relevant answers. You know, we're not raising robots, right? And yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of these things. It's in fact, just thank you. Thank you, thank you,
Just
thank you.
one more thing I would like to add. I
Yeah.
know that one more thing I know that it can be difficult for us, not with the adults in our own time, our generation or generation
Hmm.
after us, maybe even older teachers, because we are not used to things like this. But it's not an excuse to be in a box. Like if you know that you can be better, there are resources available online for free for you to be better. Go learn how to be emotionally intelligent. Go learn how to be more empathetic in your classroom. Go learn how to, have communication with your students. Learn. Go and watch videos. don't stay in one spot and say this is how I've been. That's one of the things that will kill us. If you know you don't have it, and it's not your fault, right? In our
Yeah.
environment, if me, like I find it difficult to also talk like to people. Like I like to talk to people, I like to make conversation, but even
Yeah.
here, I still find it difficult to actually like hold conversation with other people because it's like our upbringing is different.
Yeah.
Your own way of thinking is different. My way of thinking is different. I want to be careful. I don't want to really sound like as if I don't know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
we all have learning that needs to be taking
Be
place.
done.
If you
Yes.
train yourself to become better, but I promise you, and this is not because I'm in Canada. I promise you that if you want to have a wonderful classroom, which you should have, you owe it to yourself that you leave your house every morning and spend time with 20 children or 25 children that are not your
Mm-hmm.
children. It's not easy, right? You're doing a
Yeah.
great job, right? But just do it well. You can do it better. You can be better.
Mm-hmm.
So give yourself that grace. And if you want to come to Canada, you want to go America, you know, people say, I want to go and teach abroad, to go and teach abroad. If you come abroad, you have to learn all these things. So that's start
You
learning
have
it. You
to,
are
right?
learn it at home. You will learn it. Oh, if not, you will not be able to survive.
True.
I'm telling you, the child will tell you,
True.
I don't want to do this. You tell me, you can't say, go and sit down and do it for me. Yeah. Okay. What do you want to do? Do you want to do this or that? You
Giving
have to try.
offering choices. Yes.
Yeah. I'm learning it. I'm still learning it. Sometimes I just sit down because I'm like, if you leave me with this child, if you didn't come and sit down here, I may go. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that I will say, hey, I'll see my AT. We call her AT because she's like my associate teacher. I'm working with her.
Yeah.
I see the way she would now go and talk to this child and now and that child will now do that same thing. And in a very calm, I was like, hey, how did this woman do this thing? Because from the way I'm in my mind thinking, now wow, Shay, you will not just come and do this thing like this, like this, come and do this thing, Jerry. But we can't be like that. We have to learn how to be
Mm.
emotionally intelligent and be able to, talk, let your class be a peaceful class. It's worth
Yeah.
it. It's worth it, right? So
It
yeah.
is. It is. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure a lot of teachers have listened or are listening and they would pick and then they would also implement. It's implementing that
Yeah.
is the key. So
It's the
thank
action,
you.
action.
Yeah, it's
Start
the
where you are,
action.
start little by little, but have a goal that you want to be better. You can be better.
Yes, you can be better. Thank you. Thank you
So
so, so, so much.
yeah, you're
Thank you
welcome, sis.
so much.
No worries.
Thank you so much. Give me a second. I'm trying
Okay.
to. Okay.